Liz serves as a term member of the Council on Foreign Relations and is also a 2011 presidential appointee to the West Point Board of Visitors. Prior to joining McKinsey, Liz served 8 years in active duty in the Army. During her time in uniform, she served 2 tours in Iraq, including a year as a speechwriter for General David Petraeus, the commander of military forces in Iraq, in Hawaii as a military police company commander and brigade operations officer, and in Germany as a military police platoon leader. As a graduate of the Lauralton Hall class of 1996, Liz had the distinction of being the class salutatorian. She graduated in 2000 from the U.S. Military Academy, West Point, with a degree in international relations and received a master's degree in philosophy from Oxford University, where she studied as a Rhodes Scholar. She is also a Truman National Security Project Scholar. While at West Point, Liz met her husband, Captain John McNally, U.S. Army, a Black Hawk pilot aviation officer. They reside in Scarsdale, New York, and are the proud parents of a 13-month-old son, James. So are you inspired yet? It gives me enormous pleasure to welcome back Captain Elizabeth Young McNally.
Thank you. Well, it's a real honor to be here with all of you today. When I started to think about what I was going to say, I was talking to my husband, who is a high school history teacher. So, sees all of you guys, people like you, every day. He gave me 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, keep it short. So I'll do my best to do that. And then he said, make it interactive. So what I actually did, so I have a little cheat sheet. I'm just going to tell you 6 things today. And I have, pictures. Some of them are funny. On these pieces of paper. So if you wondered what these are the 6 messages I have for you. It's funny, when I thought about what I was going to say, I thought about the sort of son that I'm trying to raise. And, my husband and I, what we decided is we wanted to raise someone who was an engaged citizen of the world living to his fullest potential. And as I was listening to Mrs. Idarola earlier, and she was talking about, trying to turn, help each of you become competent, confident, and compassionate women, I think it's pretty much the same thing. So, the 6 things I'm going to tell you, at least from the little bit I've learned as a 33-year-old, I still have a lot more to learn myself. This is what I've learned so far in terms of trying to be that person myself, and then now, raise someone as well to be that sort of person. So the first thing, and you can sort of see, you can figure out the first picture here, right? It's about traveling and broadening your horizons. And Lauralton was one of the first places I really got to do that, because the first time I went overseas was, I think it was my junior year. We went to France for a week. And I was talking to my father last night. He remembers, getting the passport. Of course, he remembers writing the check. He told me that last night. But, and it was such a great experience to go. It was like 25 of us or something, and there was a few of our teachers that went with us. And it's a new country, new food, new language, all these different things. And since then, I've tried to travel and broaden my horizons in other ways as well. Whether it's reading different sorts of books or newspapers, whatever else. But the message is there's this big world out there, and it will have an impact on you, and you'll have an impact on it. But you have to go and visit it and experience it yourself. So that's the first thing I would say. So that one's sort of fun and exciting. The second message is one you may not want to hear as much, but I think it's true. So you see this guy saying, "I can't put that up. It's too much like hard work." And the message there is there's really no substitute for hard work in life. I've gotten to do different things in life. Who is obviously part of it, right? Where you go to school, the blessings you're all given. I mean, all of you already have enormous blessings and legs up upon most everyone in America, just by virtue of the fact that your parents are sending you here to Lauralton and you're having this education. Even so, given all that aside, you have to work hard in life. And there's tremendous opportunities at Lauralton to learn how to do that. I learned how to work hard when Mr. Gilbert and Mrs. Lewis would push me to run harder and faster and longer than I thought I could. I learned that in life when, Mrs. Leff, my math teacher, was pushing me and pushing all of us in AP Calculus and taking us to the math events and whatever else. So there's lots of opportunities to learn how to do it, but you have to do it yourself. No one can do that for you. So work hard in life. The third message, so we talked about broadening your horizons. We talked about working hard. The next one is about taking the road less traveled. And again, I think all of you are already starting to do that by virtue of going to high school, in an all-girls Catholic school where there's only, 100 of you per grade or something, right? You're already taking a bit of a road less traveled compared to most people. And, I would say that continuing to take that road less traveled will, ensure again that you're living to your fullest potential and that you're just enjoying your life. It'll become richer. Now, some of these roads will present themselves in front of you and you just have to, to say yes to the opportunity. Other times it's going to be up to you to take that initiative and find that road that less traveled that you wanted to take. I did that again by going to West Point, which is a pretty non-traditional place to go to college. I tell people sometimes I think it was the most rebellious choice I ever made, which shows I'm not a very rebellious person. But if you think you want to go to a different sort of college or study something different or do something else that seems a little bit wacky, but it's true to who you are, I would say go ahead and do that sort of thing and don't be afraid to do so. The next one, you can see this quote about being yourself. And I know that this one is easier said than done, and it's taken me, probably 30 years to really come to terms and do that. But the sooner you can learn to just be yourself, the happier you'll be. Upstairs I was listening to the prayer service, and some of the quotes were around, helping her feel love for who she is and not for what she does, and helping your daughter to become the woman that you and God created her to be. That's the message for the most, but it's also the message for all of you out there is to be yourself. I was interviewing this woman 2 weeks ago, and her name's Joanne Jaffe. She's a 3-star police chief in New York City, so she's the highest uniform member of the female member of the New York City Police Department. She joined in 1970, and she's risen her way up. So as we're walking out, I said to her, I'm like, you must be considered a real trailblazer in women's law enforcement. And she said to me, well, yeah, I am. And I'm like, well, that couldn't have been very easy. I was just trying to think back, 1970 being a female police officer and now to today. She said, yeah, it was really hard, but once I realized that I just had to be myself and not try to be, someone else, life got easier. And I had a similar experience. I was a junior at West Point, and I was suddenly put in charge of about 100 people. And, I'd seen how other people led, and so I tried to sort of just adopt that macho male attitude and start yelling at the freshmen and doing everything else. Well, you can see how much I smile. That's now sort of like not the way I operate. And after about 2 days, I realized I just had to lead the way I did, and I could still be successful. And everything, worked out a lot better that way. And this past summer, I was talking to someone who some of you guys may know named Molly Yardley, and she's a junior at West Point now, so she's also a Lauralton grad. And she was about to also take responsibility for leading all these new freshmen, and I was telling her that story and telling her, Molly, you just got to be yourself. Like, don't try to be the sort of person you see others are. If you just dig deep inside and think about who you are, people will appreciate that. They'll be able to tell if you're faking it anyways, right? So just be yourself in life. The next message is, and I think you guys heard this morning as well a bit, is be kind to the woman who's sitting next to you. Now, the woman who should be sitting next to me here is not here today, unfortunately. My mom had a long-standing vacation plan to Louisiana, of all places, so she was very sad she couldn't be here, but the message is just the same, and I have the picture. This is about when my son was, I think, about 4 weeks old. So that's my mom and my son and me. And now I'll tell you, I wasn't always nice to my mom, right? Just as you guys were not always nice to your moms, and your moms were probably not always nice to their moms, right? Because we get angry or upset and everything else. But if I could take it all back, I wouldn't have been mean to my mom when I got angry at her in high school or college or whatever else, because now that I am a mom, I realize how much she did for me and continues to do for me today. So, much like when you guys were standing upstairs and I was watching you all when you were holding hands with your mom, I don't think we do enough of that sort of thing with our moms. Is be appreciative of her, be thankful for her, whoever the woman is sitting next to you, because she'll be with you, hopefully, through every leg of your journey. I can't imagine now being a mom without, having my mom there to help me out. So that's one more message. So 5 things. I'm trying to keep it short. So we've talked about traveling and broadening your horizons. We talked about working hard. Taking the road less traveled, being yourself, being kind to the woman sitting next to you. And the final thing is, don't sweat the small stuff. And most of life is small stuff. This poor zebra he's losing his stripes because he's so stressed out. It's just like, just have fun with life. These things that you think are such a big deal, like what dress you're gonna wear to the prom, or I don't know, whether or not you get a 95 or a 96 on your math test tomorrow. Yeah, they're all important, but they're not so important, right? Just enjoy the ride as much as you can, and keep perspective and just enjoy the journey. So, for me, from one older grad to all of you, those are 6 simple lessons, with a little piece of paper to go with it, that will hopefully, help you in one very small way to become the confident, and compassionate women that I know you already are, and that you'll continue to be, and then you'll make an impact on the world and much more small, on your family and your friends as you go throughout life. So, thank you.